Shit, Marshall. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Just Sparks Stop Pounding this motherfucker. Check out, I'm about to put the song real quick and just do some commercials real quick. Run to Racing Man. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Hey, check. Hey, nigga, I don't play. If you wanna hate, nigga, you in that spray, nigga. Honestly, what your mind you clearly don't use. Nigga, see the views, no Drake, I'm talking air. In the cloud where I live, you niggas is. I'm flying up the atmosphere and then I'm taking shits. Oh, you niggas like my bitch, and I'm stopping till I'm rich. Spiritual I am now, just gotta bring it down a physical. Yeah, we in some digital time. The mind's still fine, and this what if you're a sheep. End up like food, popping all the pills like a cat. That's alright, man. I guess. For me, I got gold, I got pearl, but the life is a flight. Mental polish from this world, and your girl, she my slut. But the other pun intended, I make words and sit. But when I go out, all I wanna do is sing this shit. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Yeah. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Hey. Look, as a kid, I hated school and hated the rules. I was smart, but the teachers faded me as a fool. That a bitch told me I won't be shit. Look, they was right. Technically, I ain't shit. Not from this world. I got gadgets at my palace. My bitch mixing up the potion and she threw it in the ocean for her very own motion pictures. Look, fuck Disney and that chimney man, all they perverts. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Hey, hey. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Hey. Every time I'm in my spaceship, I tell God. Hey. What's up with you guys? Just Spark, start piling this motherfucking. Check it out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna break down these Venus and Mars energies and that them being in Leo and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So already by default, you know what I'm saying, Venus. I'm gonna break down Venus and I'm gonna break down Mars. But by default, Venus being in Mars, you know what I'm saying? That's the like all right. So by default, Venus being in Mars, the Venus will be how we express our love, how we express how we relate to each other, how we express what we can compromise with, all that energy. So with that being in Leo, it's going to be in the sense of where it's going to be exalting the energy because Venus don't like being in Leo, so it's going to exalt being us being in a space where we gonna feel like our the love we're going to be passionately into, especially with the Mars being there, it's going to be very fake, like fictitious, or whatever you want to call it, because the energies is not, you know what I'm saying, it ain't even really all there like that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like fake. So it's that's what's gonna be pushing us to really be into like shit like that. So with that being said, with the Venus being in Leo, it's gonna be pushing us to be in this energy where wherever energies we gonna be putting into, it's gonna be a lot of fake energy. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's say you're really genuine with these energies and you're really passionate about your love, especially with the Mars being there. It's gonna be in a sense where you're gonna be looking like you're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be looking like you're doing too much or too little, either of those two, and that's why it's hard for that sign to be even being a Leo, because Leo is not a sign where that Venus likes to be in. You know, you know what I'm saying? Even Mars. You know what I'm saying? Well, Mars there.
but it don't really like being in Mars too. You know what I'm saying? But see, with that being said, you know what I'm saying, and Mars in this in itself is going to be pushing us to be really passionate with what we're into, what we're passionately into, what drives us is going to be in Leo. So that's going to be whatever drives us. We don't want to be seen for the attention of that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we do in general, you know what I'm saying? Whatever pushes us to be whatever, it's going to be like we're going to be passionately into whatever that we can actually make in a reality basis. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be in energies of where we're trying to do shit in real life, like for real, like boom, 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 pushing that shit deep down. And it's like, however we go upon that, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like senses of where whatever we're doing with that Mars being there is gonna be pushing us to be even more of a of of a of an individual, but the individual is going to be pushing us to be more attention seeking. You know what I'm saying? If that's the right words I can put into that, attention seeking. So we're going to be a lot of attention seekers right now at times like these. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to be no attention seeker. But see, with the way it being Leo, it's not going to be seen as bad though. You know what I'm saying? Because the Leo is going to be actually energies where it's no one's really gonna see too no one's really gonna see too bad of it, you know what I'm saying, because of the Leo, because we are two signs in Leo, you know what I'm saying, Venus and Mars. So with that being said, that's gonna be like the actual points of where you can see within that parameter of guidance, where you can see the each planet and signs and what they relate and what they can relate to and compromise with and shit like that. Excuse me. And yeah, so it's like that in a sense. Whew, that in a sense. Whew, that in a sense. So it's gonna be like shit, whatever, however shit goes within ourselves, within the internal first, because that's what these planets play out first. These planets don't really play out external, but they play out external because of what our minds bends into itself to create. So the planets will be an example of our chakras. So for example, when I say these are all internal first, we all have our internal planets within us first. So if we have all our internal planets within us first, we know how to relate these better. We know how to go deep. We know how to go deep within these things within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We don't gotta go in and out, but we know what the fuck we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, if you want to know, I hope it's not lagging. Make sure we're live. Uh, anyway, so it's gonna be like if you want to make sure if you want to make sure that you you want to damn, I don't know if it's lagging or not. I'm gonna keep going anyway. But yeah, so with that being said, it's gonna be senses of where uh with these plans gonna be within the internal first. It's gonna be senses of where why I say it starts off the internal first is because when our minds bends into itself and creates that environment, which is the planets, you know what I'm saying? The planets will be a representation of what we see in our in our real life within us first. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, don't think it's pseudo when I say, oh, these planets aren't really external. It's really internal first because the internal will be a representation of what would represent of how we're going upon in our everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And that is what matters first, that internal first aspect of it first, because the internal is what's more important, because that's the mind form first. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's the mind form first. You know, make sure we're good. What's up, Exo Gilco? So yeah, so without that being said, that's kind of like the energies of where you want to understand first. When you understand the mind form first, you understand certain transits beforehand in general. So you don't gotta get lost and think, oh, it's this and that, but you understand where I'm coming from. So back to Venus and Leo, Venus being in Leo, you be gonna be in spaces of where if you know where shit's coming from, especially the love matters, especially what 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 we can compromise with, what we can make relatable within ourselves or in others. don't feel like you want to be with the broad attention within that aspect. You know, so you don't want to feel like you're the broad attention within that aspect. You want to feel like you're doing this because you're genuine. You know what I'm saying? And whatever you're doing that's genuine within yourself, understand that you don't gotta feel like you're being left behind too within that love energy. Because then if that's gonna be, even that Venus and Leo is gonna be pushing us to think, oh, we're being left behind, because that Leo is fixed fire and Venus is a Taurus and a Libra sign and a Pisces sign. So it's gonna be like, and it's exalted in Pisces. But with it being Leo, it's gonna be like burned out love, passionate love. But that passionate love is gonna be pushing us to be even more like burnt out. It's gonna be pushing us to be burnt out in the sense, because Leo's fixed fire. So it's gonna be pushing us to be burnt out and shit like that. So you don't gotta feel like you don't gotta think of things too deep, or think of things too hard. You can just think of things how they are in general. So within that being said, don't think, oh, it's maybe I should do this. And like, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody, and like, and you're going deep within this with this person, but you feel like what you're doing shouldn't be said. A lot of things should be kept behind closed doors. Let's say you're relating with this individual, and you're trying really hard to relate. You're feeling like, but you feel like there's nothing there. You feel like you're talking to a brick wall. That's kind of like these energies of Venus being in Leo, because the Venus being Leo is going to be in the space where you're being burnt out. So you don't know, if you don't know how to start that fire, flame that flame. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like wearing my lighter. This over, I'm like, damn. But it's kind of like a lighter. You put the lighter on, and the flame is coming out. But think of the flame. Think of the flame like the love, and think of the lighter as the Venus. I mean, as the no, think of the lighter as Venus. Think of the flame as Leo. So with the lighter being Venus and the flame being Leo, it's kind of like you having the firm ground of what you're standing on within your love matters. But then the people, places, and things push you to be too exalted in that love and passionate aspect. So it's gonna be like, the best way I can explain it is that you're gonna feel like you're burning yourself out all the time within this love matters. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel like you're burning yourself out within all this love and this passion. You don't feel like you got more to give, but you don't know how to give this within yourself and others. You don't feel like like I said, you're being left behind within this Venus being in Leo. And then with the Mars being in Leo, it's gonna be extra energies within that aspect. So that passionate within yourself, that passionate energy within yourself is gonna be pushing you to be more of a get get this shit over with. Let me get this shit over. Let me get this over. Come on, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Gotta do this. And you're gonna be seen as you gonna think you're gonna be seen as the brightest star or the brightest light, but in reality, you're gonna be seen as you just same with the Venus energy. You're burning yourself out. You're burning your Mars out, because your Mars is used to being all that in the fire and shit like that. But see, with this fixed fire, this is Leo. So this is fixed fire. So this is gonna be Mars. So it's gonna be like whatever you can initiate within that fixed arena is gonna be pushing you to being in that extra energy of trying to be seen, but for the war, you know what I'm saying, trying to be seen for the passion, trying to be seen for. So that's why it's not as good as the you know what I'm saying, other fire signs like Aries and Sagittarius. They don't really do that good as Sagittarius, but Aries is one of them because it does against Aries. You know what I'm saying? But it don't really do good in Leo too, because Leo is just too much fire within the fixed aspect. So it's gonna be making you feel like you fixed foundation and fixed correlation and shit like that. So it's gonna be shit like that. So the Mars is gonna be in the sense of where whatever you're doing within yourself, within your passionate love, not love, but passionate war aspects and shit like that. And it don't always gotta be do about war, but I'm just talking about war because it's the Mars sign. So it's all about the war, fighting, passionate, um, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So within that aspect, it's gonna be pushing you to be within that. It's gonna be making you feel like that fixed fire is actually not a good thing for the Mars. You know what I'm saying? Because the Mars wants to be traveling. You know what I'm saying? Mars wants to travel within that fire. They don't want to be staying in the fire and stay there and just be seen as this. So you know, what I'm saying, Mars is like the jock teenager. So jock teenagers don't always want to be seen as the highest mighty. So this and that and that and this and this. They want to travel. They want to fuck. They want to do a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Besides just staying in one place and being stagnated and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They want to be moving around and traveling. So that's why Aries is where it was a more of a passionate aspect within that state of being. You know what I'm saying? But within it being in uh Leo, it's gonna be pushing you just to be stagnated and stay stuck and what's called stuck in stagnating that within that Leo. So it don't really want to be all over the place. It don't really want to stay stuck in that place and want to be moving around. So within that area, if you know how to move within that Mars, if you know how to transition the Mars aspects, if you know how to come correct within that Mars aspect, you know how to relate that shit better within the Mars aspect and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know how to relate better within these things. You know what I'm saying? So you don't gotta get lost and get confused within these things. You know what I'm saying? And that's just within that Mars in general. You know what I'm saying? And and these things we do within ourselves when we come to conclusions to understand how these things can relate within ourselves. Because like I said, it starts from the internal, then the external. You know what I'm saying? The internal, all these planets all these planets are playing within the internal first, and then the external when we say, "Oh, we see planets in the sky," it's not that we're actually seeing actual planets in the sky because we can never see an actual planet in the sky. It's that we understand these planets we see in the sky are only the sun and moon. You know what I'm saying? Don't think of the stars being, oh, that's a planet too, and don't think of satellites you be seeing this in the sky. Think, oh, that's a planet too. These aren't really planets; these are really satellites. You know what I'm saying? A real planet is with yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Yourself. You got your own internal plans within yourself from the head to your feet. So if you understand these things within yourself, you understand that there's different planets within you that you can understand within yourself first before you try to understand the actual natures of this worldly events, so that play out in the real world. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta get lost in the actual real world. You understand the internal world first, then you can understand the real world. You know what I'm saying? So you don't gotta get you should not try to figure shit out. You know what I'm saying? Try to understand that's the internal first. So when you understand the internal first, you understand, okay, now I see where shit's coming from. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't gotta get lost and confused and think of, oh, this planet's outside of me. No, the planets are within you first. Then you can start comparing the planets outside of you, because then you can start comparing and contrasting different events of where the planets would take place. So when they say when the sun rises in the first house, they call that Mars, but it's not really Mars really being in the sky. It's really the sun, that movement, that actual movement becomes Mars. You know what I'm saying? So you don't gotta get lost and think, oh, the Mars is an actual planet we can see in the sky. It's really like the redshift. It's a movement. That's why I said Mars likes to move. You know what I'm saying? It don't like to be stuck and stagnated. It likes to be movements. You know what I'm saying? So now you can understand that. I hope that's a better aspect of where you can see that. So when you relate that within your real world, you can understand the trilogies of actual planets and signs and elements and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's a movie called Elements that's coming out. So I seen that on commercial or whatever it's called, McDonald's shit. It was, oh, what the fuck? Why they got? I was like, why they got the girl fire and the boy water? Which shouldn't it be the boy fire and the girl water? That's what I was thinking. What the fuck? Because masculine, feminine, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, these guys trying to get the kids lost and not trying to make the kids understand the actual concept of what really is going on in the real world. So the shadow government's trying to get the kids lost and within these cartoons and not making them realize that different transitions are different ways of seeing a individual's character. You know what I'm saying? So the individual's character would play out as whatever what their golem would be. You know what I'm saying? Their representation would be. So all men in the Bible, when you hear all thoughts in the Bibles, all men names in the Bibles, those will be thoughts. When you hear all women names in the Bibles, those will be feelings. So you understand that. You understand the different ways and how you can see these things within yourself. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta feel like, you don't gotta see and think and feel like a different way. See and get lost in the witchcraft. You understand the shit now and now. You know what I'm saying? So when you understand the shit from now and now, you can understand the aspects of what they're coming from in the totality. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that's just that little tangent right there. So you can understand different ways and how you can see things in different realms of realities. You know what I'm saying? But without that being said, yeah. when you go back to your mind bodies, you understand the planets. You understand the planet. All these planets are different minds, different minds, and these minds are certain ways of traveling. You know what I'm saying? So Mars will be its own, Venus will be its own, Mercury will be its own. You know what I'm saying? Uranus will be its own, Pluto will be its own, Jupiter will be all these planets. They'll all be its own. So all 10 of them. So at seven really, but there's 10 because the outer planets. So we understand these things within yourself, understand these things within the internal, you understand these things within the external, within itself. So you understand how to travel in the internal first. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how if you want if you keep a dream journal, you know how to do the things you have certain dreams of more Mars like energy or Mercury like energies, or you know what I'm saying, like, and like that's how you know which chakra you were in the most. You know what I'm saying? So now you know how to decipher it. You know what I'm saying? You know how to decipher these things, especially if your Mercury tethering cord. If you still connect, if you're still connected to your Mercury tethering cord and you're traveling far out, you know how to connect these things with the Mercury energy. And you know how to fly your spaceship in different arenas. You know how to contract these things within itself. So you know how to what you're doing really for real for real. So that's kind of like that in a sense of its own. You know what I'm saying? And that's why there's a thing called the tree of life, the Kabbalah tree of life, because they have their own planet system. The tree of life is their own planets. You know what I'm saying? That this is the Jews own their own disciplines of their planets. So they got all 10, and it's like a setup, right? And they got their own little planet system of how they trying to travel within their internal. But see, that's why I say fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You can understand this thing of within your understand this thing within yourself, and just call it something else. You don't gotta call it a tree of life. You don't call it a nothing of life. You can call it or whatever you name it within yourself. You know what I'm saying? A plane of life. You know what I'm saying? A spaceship of life. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it, you want to call it something beyond this world. So then the whole everything is a spaceship. Because once you understand everything is a spaceship, you know everything you're doing, and you're traveling in everything aspect. So you don't gotta get lost and think, oh, it's this tree and that tree, oh, this planet and that planet. You understand? All these things are spaceships and planets. So, but once you understand a planet is a spaceship, you don't gotta get lost and understand each planets and how they move within themselves. You understand these planets within itself is a spaceship. So you can understand it from that first starting point. They can understand. They can get below at many sons and daughters and understand each other aspects of what they're trying to point to. You know what I'm saying? So then once you got the first starting point, you already got the others shit going on. So you don't gotta get lost within itself. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like that energy within itself, and so you can break down the certain allegories and planetary transitions. I keep saying transaction like a check. No, transitions, and understand these things within itself. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like within that point within itself, because when you understand life for itself, you understand a lot of things in life. Like when you go outside and you do your little one two and you do your little one two and you like you're crawling outside, you come to this conclusion. Everyone, every single person has a different way of looking outside. Like we don't see the same thing when we look outside. We all see different stuff. So when you understand when you're looking outside and doing your little one to one, we all may be looking at the same thing, but we all have a different perspective of how we see it. Just like we look at the sun, but we see the sun, but we have a different perspective of how we see it. So when you understand, no one will ever see everything how they see it the same way, and how they see it, like how to see this shit on Disney or cartoons or actual TV shows. We all see this shit in different ways because we're all beings in a human experiment. Even though I'm not human, and if you watch this channel, you're not human too, or any other powerful spirits like Uriel, all this, you're not human. So you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So when you go outside and look at these things within itself, and you see these things, oh shit, you see these things within itself, and try to it's hard to explain because you are just the way you're seeing these things is so different from the actual external world. So you don't gotta feel like, oh, this and that, but you understand where shit is coming from. So when you understand the shit from the first starting point, you understand from other broad starting points. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not really starting points at this point, just second bases, and a second bases could turn to third base, and the fourth base, and the fifth base, like it's baseball, sixth base, seventh base. So you understand each bases from what you understand the starting point. So it's like you're making a reverse. No, it's like you're making a pyramid. You know, so the starting point and the each bases. You know what I'm saying? So you can relate this. So then you got a space where you can relate to anybody in general. You can relate to any race, any gender, any or whatever, because the way you're coming upon your bases first. So that's kind of like how you want to be. You always want to be in that light, not light, but you. When I say light, don't get lost in the light. But you always want to be in that allegory, because once you understand, once you want to connect with God by default, you understand that God is within you. So once you understand God is within you, you understand that you don't have to bow down to the wills of whatever this world is going upon. You know what I'm saying? You always create the different. You always create the shifts. You always know how to ride shifts. You always know how to create different atmospheres and environments. You know what I'm saying? So you don't got to get lost in nothing. You know what I'm saying? You become the treasure, you know what I'm saying, in a bunch of lostness, you know what I'm saying? So anytime you're parlaying with the real world, you always got a different spaceship, a different way of how to maneuver within this real world, because this real world is dirty. So you become the only clean thing from this real world. So you become a diamond in the dirt, or without fuck being a diamond in the dirt, you become the shining, the new diamond, you know what I'm saying, the bright diamond, because once you already became the dirt, well, I'm not became the dirt, but once you understood the dirt, you became the diamond by default. So that diamond became the actual allegory of what you became as a precious, as a precious person. You know what I'm saying? As a pure light person. You know what I'm saying? Not light, but man, I'm not about to keep explaining this shit. You know what I'm saying? But as a precious person, you know what I'm saying? As a pure light person, you know what I'm saying? As a pure hearted person. So people understand what you're trying to go for. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? You just become different. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to become. You always want to become the side of different. You never want to be a side of where everyone else has already done this and that. You always want to be a side of where you're coming in as a new type of character. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do that, now you're in spaces where you don't have to always be in spaces where you know how to parlay with the environment. The environment tries to learn how to parlay with you, because now the environment is trying to copy you. You know what I'm saying? That's you always want to be in that space, because when you're in that space of the environment trying to copy you, parlay with you. Now copy you. Now you're in spaces where now you're in the real games. Now you're in the okay. Now you're in the real. You're in the real games now. Now you can actually do your little one-to-one, because now you're in the space of where uh you don't have to be out in the public to try to, especially now summertime. You don't, so it's gonna be spaces where now we gonna be space. We gotta be outside more now. You know what I'm saying? Spring, it's cool if you're inside a little longer in spring, but now summertime it's gonna be you want to be outside now and getting all these energies. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, but times of where you know what I'm saying you want to create experiences for yourself. So when anything you create your concerts for yourself, create meeting with yourself, collab with yourself, whatever you do within yourself, try to do this shit with that, spread your brand out. You know what I'm saying? Because summertime is now. This is summertime, so we're summer, and Cancer is cardinal water. So this initiate, create new ways how to see things in a water like way. So emotions, you know what I'm saying, connect with water like elements. You know what I'm saying, connect with. And you know what I'm saying, if you're a real cultist, you would think of ways how you can create different ways how to connect within the water elements. You know what I'm saying? So you may have a water you may have some sort of water or a bottle of water on your holy table, or whatever you do within, and then have it to the west. So yeah, when you have it to the west, or if you want to start from the east, it's whatever you want to start from. But if you're really deep in it, you know what I'm talking about. You want to start from the west. So that's that cardinal water initiating from the first house. It's even though Aries lies in the first house, but if you know what you're doing, I probably shouldn't be bringing this shit down. But if I'm gonna just start with this. I don't care if you know what you're doing. You know that the first house is Aries, second house is Taurus, third house is Gemini, fourth. So it's like 1, 4, 7, 10. So all the cardinal houses. So you know what you're doing. So you got different ways how you can elevate yourself within that house aspect. So you got your bottle of water in those positions. You know what I'm saying, in the first house position. Then whatever you do, you move it. Whatever you do within yourself, or whatever you have a glass of water, whatever you do within yourself, or keep in the fourth house, or whatever you do, or you got a straw. What is it called? A smiley face horoscope, whatever you call it, smiley on your table. You know what I'm saying? You got the zodiac sign on your table, and you got the house. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do, it's your holy table. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to keep giving y'all a game, but if y'all know what I'm trying to say, y'all know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? So within that stuff, you want to know how to start within start within that starting point within yourself, so you don't gotta get lost. You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's basically what I'm trying to say. And I think it's been 30 minutes, and I think I'm gonna end it off right here. You know what I'm saying? I might go with live back live tonight. We'll see how I'm feeling, but you know what I'm saying. I appreciate y'all for watching, and we out. You know what I'm saying? Just about stuff out. We out this motherfucker. Peace, and yeah, we out.